Thunder Bay, Ontario, on the shores of Lake Superior. Trainloads of prairie grain roll into waterfront stockyards. This is the point of transfer, where the grain ends its journey by rail and begins its journey by water to the markets of the world. The bulk freighter Canadoc is small by Great Lakes standards, 605 feet long, 62 feet wide. But in another way, she's a typical Laker. Of her 29 crew members, 6 are Newfoundlanders. There's Ted Thorne of Burnt Islands, Bob Clark from Harbour Lacou, Charlie Savory of Rose Blanche, Ed Fudge from Ramia. Down in the engine room, 4th engineer Bill Pomeroy. Unlike the 4 Newfoundlanders up on deck, Bill doesn't come from the southwest coast. He's from Brigus, Conception Bay. The captain of the Canadoc, Richard Bacchus, says it's a rare Laker that doesn't have Newfoundlanders aboard.
From one province like that, it's a significant number, you know, like a lot of the other ones are spread out from, we have seamen come from clear across Canada and places like that, but from one province it's a significant contribution.
Have you worked with a lot of them over the years?
I've worked a lot of them and I had never met a bad one. I say that without any regrets. All the Newfoundlanders I've met have been very good. Good seamen as a whole, they come up here with it. Whether it's born to it or because they're living next to a fishing village, I don't know, but they're very good seamen.
Typical of the Newfoundlanders who work on the Lakers is Ted Thorne of Burnt Islands, a watchman and crane operator on the Canadoc.
First when I started sailing, I used to go deep sea. And then all the guys that I used to hang around with, buddies and all that around home, well, they were coming on the Great Lakes, and I went deep sea. And then they used to be home in the winter time. And, well, I used to be gone all winter long. So then I decided, well, I look forward and I come up here and see could I get shipped out with my buddies, eh? So that's how I come on the Great Lakes.
It's mid-May. The shipping season on the lakes has already been open for more than a month. The Canadoc is part of a fleet of freighters operated by the Patterson Shipping Company of Thunder Bay. She's already made several trips since the season opened. Today, she's loading a shipment of grain for Quebec City. For Ted Thorne and the other Newfoundlanders in the crew, spring breakup on the lakes means the start of many months away from home.
Like some years you come up here 1st of April, and you don't get home no more till, say, June into July for your holidays. Then you come back up again sometime in September. And then you don't get home until the ship ties up. Could be after Christmas, could be after New Year's. Some years that you spend on Christmas on here, and some more years you just make it home. Like last year, for instance, I made it home Christmas Eve night.
Within a few hours, the Canadoc's holds are brimming with nearly 15,000 tons of grain. It's time to get underway.
BDX 30 to Canada. We cleared the south entrance at 1347. Our tonnage is 14,353.535 metric tons.
Fine, sir. Thank you for the information, sir, and have a good trip down home.
Thank you to Canada.
Our destination, Quebec City, is 6 days and 1,400 miles away. Our voyage will take us across Lake Superior, through the St. Mary's River, and down Lake Huron. We'll travel through the Detroit River and across Lake Erie, then pass through the Welland Canal and cross Lake Ontario. The last leg of the journey will take us down the St. Lawrence River, past Montreal, and on into Quebec City. After the flurry of loading up and leaving port, the ship settles back into the routine of a lake's trip. For Ted Thorne, that means punching in his shift as a watchman, making sure everything's in order on deck, checking the hold for water, just in case a leak might have developed somewhere in the ship's massive hull. Mostly it's tedious, repetitive work, but it helps pass the long hours as the Canadoc heads across Lake Superior.
It takes you, I think it's 20 hours, 21 hours across the Lake Superior. That's down the center part of the lake. So, you know, it's a long lake. You never believe it, how long it can get, you know, the lakes that's up here. I mean, you get some people that, you talk about the Great Lakes and they just think, well, lakes is nothing, you know. Something like a pond around home. I'm on the 8 to 12 watch, and there's a lot of time there in between that I can think, really think about home. I'm wondering about the family, is they're okay around home, and you know, me children and that, and all this, everything goes through my mind, you know.
Burnt Islands is a small village perched on Newfoundland's rugged southwest coast. It's a town of fishermen, some on deep-sea draggers, others in small longliners. And it's a town of Great Lakes sailors, like Ted Thorne. Ted tried the draggers, but it wasn't the life he wanted. A few of his buddies had gone to work on the lakes, so Ted decided to follow them.
There's quite a few around there now. I couldn't tell you a number, but there is quite a few guys around here from Burnt Islands there that sails on the Great Lakes. They don't go fishing, and I suppose they just took it for granted. They just go on the lakes, and then from then on, there's just everybody else goes back and forth and keeps going and going like that. Another fella goes up, and then his buddy goes up, and then another guy goes up, and then just carries on like that.
When he's home for the winter, Ted doesn't bother looking for work. The way he figures it, there aren't enough jobs around for the people who stay in Burnt Islands. So he's content to put in his 8 months on the lakes and take the winter off. His time at home is precious. He spends as much of it as he can with his wife and family.
That's all I do in the winter time. I come home and stay with my family all winter long. Then sometimes, you know, go out with the fishing boats or something, you know, do something, but not too often I go anywhere. I just stay with my family. Way I look at it, well, I'm gone, say 4 months before a stretch before I get home. Then I come home for my winter months. I think I I'm glad to get with my family because really I'm long enough away from there, so it's good to get on with them. Who's that there? When you come home in the winter time like this, the time seems to go faster than when you're up on the lakes, you know. When you're on the lake, it seems like the time just drags and drags. But when you're home, the winter months go flying by.
I suppose you start thinking about having to go back and waiting for the call to go back up.
Yeah, I do. I really think about it. I mean, just thinking about the time coming and going now, I got to go back again for another 4 months. Then I won't get home no more till sometime in July, you know. I think about it a lot. It's the hardest part, you know, like when you get ready to leave, you know, really. In the winter months, you come home for these 3 months, and then all of a sudden you got to take off back again, and it's really hard.
Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, at the head of the St. Mary's River, linking Lake Superior and Lake Huron. Entering the river means the Canadoc will be passing other ships at close quarters. That's the signal for Ted to carry out a little ritual he started on the Canadoc, raising the Newfoundland flag.
Yeah, we love that. Once in a while we go to passing the ships, we put up the Newfie flag. Especially we know there's a ship coming, that we know there's guys on there from Newfoundland, so we hoist up the flag then. And they notice it. Every time the flag is up, they hear them all out hollering and screaming back at us. When you see the American flag up and the Quebec flag and all that, and the Ontario flag, and it's nice to see the Newfoundland flag up alongside it. At least they know we're around.
As the Canadoc eases her way through the river, word gets around that one of her sister ships, the Comodoc, will soon be going by on her way back up to Thunder Bay. Ted and the boys know there are Newfoundlanders on board, so everyone heads out on deck.
Well, after you get up there for so long, like a couple of weeks or a month after you're up there, you find out where all the boys is at. Then once you find out that which boats they're on and that, you always watch for them, you know what's coming, eh? Generally the whalesmen come down, or somebody will say, well, there's a boat coming by. You know what boat, the name of the boat is, well, you know there's guys on there from home, and they get out and wait for them to come by.
Hey, gang! Hello, Donald! Hello, Donald! Hello, buddy!
Well, we get out and holler out, big screams at us, and laugh and joke at each other, but only just like a flash and you're gone, you know.
There's another Newfoundlander on the Canadoc who's got his eyes peeled for passing ships, but he's got no time to holler and wave. He's Garfield Strawbridge from Boxey, Fortune Bay. Garf's a wheelsman. He's been steering Lakers for 14 years, the last 12 on the Canadoc. Navigating the narrow rivers and canals that link the Great Lakes is no easy job in any size craft. But it's especially challenging when you're at the wheel with 600 feet of ship behind you.
I mean, it's amazing to me that you can take these boats into some of the spots you take them.
Well, the old guys used to say it takes 5 years to make a good wheel. So I'm working on my third 5 year.
So you must be the best one of the best now. You used to work on boats back home, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I was on draggers down there for 3 or 4 or 5 years.
How'd you find that as opposed to this?
Oh, this is better. You're home in the winter time. You got to worry about cold.
Newfoundland in 1970.
But it wasn't the cold that drove these Newfoundlanders to the Great Lakes. Most shipped out because they couldn't find work at home. I spoke with 3 of them as we crossed Lake Huron.
There are a lot of Newfoundlanders on these boats. Do you find that most of them are up here for the same reason, that they simply had to come up here to to find work?
Well, I can't speak for everyone, but I would assume the people that I know, I think they have the same idea that I have. That, in order to make a living, you have to come out, you have to come up.
Well, I fished at a Harbour Cove for a few years, and I didn't like it. I quit, and I worked on the fish plant, and I didn't like that, so I decided to come up on the lake boats up here. And I've been up here for probably over 30 years, and I still don't like it up here.
But as you say, you know, as you've all said, it's a good living.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good living, yeah.
I couldn't
The
find...
only thing is you know, it's far away from home, but when you come away, you just got to make up your mind that you got 3 or 4 months and or whatever. Go home in the summer for a month or so and come back. Open, you get back home for Christmas.
You're confined to an area 24 hours a day. Your normal day's work is 8. So you live, you eat, you sleep, you work, same surroundings.
So do you find that you fellows sort of stick together up here, that you exchange bits of news and keep each other company in these 8 or 9 months that you spend going back and forth on these lakes?
Oh yeah, you know, you go and phone home and the other fellow wants to know what the weather's like and all this, anything new and all this stuff, you know. So.
Do you find the same way, Bob?
Yes, sir, the same way. I'm glad to get in port sometimes so I can phone home and find out what the news is. Yes, on.
If you found out there was work back home tomorrow, would you give this up?
I'd
Yes.
pack my bags tonight.
Yes, sir, certainly would.
You'd want to head right straight back home.
Yeah, if there's
Yeah.
something down there to do, make a living, yeah.
Pack our clothes right away and get on.
As Lake Huron slips away astern, the hours are passed with cards and conversation.
52, 54, 5 and 9.
Down the club.
Oh no, I needed one more.
Down
We
the
got a
club.
handful of us. We got 40.
14.
I need one more. You know, I mean, like Edgar, for instance.
Yeah, we all get together in a room there and we talk about this and that, what we've done through the winter months, and it's nice, you know, to get back, you know, and see the boys is all gathering back again, you know, and getting in the big yarns and that in the rooms. I guess the Newfoundland music, we have the whole swing thing sometimes like at it.
By noon the next day, we're in the Detroit River. On the port side, Windsor, Ontario. To starboard, the skyscrapers of Detroit. By evening, we're well on our way across Lake Erie, the third link in our voyage through this vast inland sea. Early the next morning, the Canadoc reaches Port Colborne, Ontario, the western end of the Welland Canal that connects Lake Erie with Lake Ontario. The canal runs parallel to the Niagara River, which drops 326 feet between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. To descend those 326 feet, the Canadoc must pass through a series of locks along the canal. The most spectacular part of the descent is here, at the Niagara Escarpment. Ships on the left can climb 150 feet, while those on the right descend the same distance by going through 3 interconnected locks. It's this, or tangled with Niagara Falls. But before she can begin her descent, the Canadoc must be maneuvered into the locks. It's a tight squeeze, only 8 feet clearance on either side. It's a collective effort involving the mates on deck and the wheelsman and captain on the bridge.
Okay, Garth, we're going to take this on the fly now.
Okay.
Let's hear some spots there now.
10 feet.
We haven't got brakes. You can't stop. When you put your engines astern, you're starting to swing and you're out of control. Forward a little bit more.
Coming away out slowly.
You have to line it up properly and go at it and be going slow.
5 up.
You just can't slam on the brakes and say, we'll start over again. It takes over a mile to stop these things. Easy now.
At times like this, the captain puts a lot of faith in his wheelsman. In this case, Garfield Strawbridge.
He's a very good man. He's been steering for a long time. He's a competent man. He's steady. You've got faith in all your employees, all your equipment. It's very difficult to imagine the number of things that go wrong and describe here. There's everything. There's everything from your engines to the 10-cent fuse that operates a steering gear.
With the Canadoc in position, huge valves are opened, releasing water from the upper lock into the lower lock. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the big ship begins her descent. In a matter of minutes, the Canadoc has dropped the height of a 5-story building. The gates of the lock slowly swing open. The engines are fired up. And the Canadoc steams on to the next step in the ladder down to Lake Ontario. For someone seeing it for the first time, this marvel of engineering is nothing short of awe-inspiring. But for the crew of the Canadoc, such sights have long ceased to be wonders. They become, instead, just points of reference to measure out the long trips up and down the lakes. After years working on these ships, the time grows long. Each day becomes a void, to be filled with anything that will keep you busy and crowd out thoughts of home and family. You clean and paint the hatches. When you finish, well, you go back and do them again. Days melt into golden evenings. Lake Ontario slips beneath the keel. The great ship slides gently into the St. Lawrence River. Sometime after midnight, the lights of Montreal glide magically by. "12 hours later, Quebec City, our destination. No time is wasted. Within minutes, the Canadoc is tied up beneath tall storage towers. Conveyor belts claw their way into the hold, scooping up grain and carrying it into storage. In just over 10 hours, the Canadoc will be empty. In little over 11 hours, she'll be on her way back to Thunder Bay. So the cycle continues. There is little romance working on the Great Lakes, only long hauls and longer hours. For Newfoundlanders who ship out on the lakes, there is good money and a steady job. There is also tradition. Men of the salt water sailing on a freshwater sea.
What if one of your young fellas was to come to you when you go home and say, Dad, I think I'm going to follow your footsteps and look for a job up in the lakes? What would you do?
Well, I tell you now, I tell you, I wouldn't ever, I would really try to talk him out of it. Because to me, it's going down. The Great Lakes it's not like it used to be. For to come up here now, it's harder to get a job. Like I say, it's harder to get a job. You got more people in line, and you got more ships laid up and all this. So I mean, I tried to talk him out of it the best I could.
But you wouldn't stop?
No, not the way. One way I wouldn't try. Like maybe I would get a stick or something. Like I said, beat him over the heat or something. Keep away. But no. But one way, it is. I would try to talk him out of it.
When you come down to it, though, it's really not that bad.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad. No, it's good. As far as I'm concerned, it's good. I mean, at least you got a job. Like I said, you got a job to come to, and it's a living here.